So I want to have a quick look at the whole debacle surrounding Rotten Tomatoes. Now they've really damaged their own website. Now I'm sure you're familiar with the whole subject, but if you're not, what it is, Rotten Tomatoes had a want to see score, and a lot of movie fans or people went to Rotten Tomatoes and said, I don't want to watch Captain Marvel, I've got no interest in the movie. And the score fell down to around 26%. And at that point, Rotten Tomatoes removed that functionality. And in a press release, they effectively called their users trolls. Now, some people are accusing Rotten Tomatoes of being forced by Disney to remove that functionality because it was creating negative publicity for Captain Marvel movie. And the media twisted that whole discussion into these people leaving negative reviews being referred to as trolls. Even if they were genuine reviews, that, you know, for example, they didn't like the trailers or they didn't like the posters, they said, I don't want to watch this movie. Those people are now referred to as trolls because they don't agree with what Rotten Tomatoes wanted, what Disney wanted, or what the media wanted. So that functionality being removed takes away a lot of the traffic for Rotten Tomatoes. Now let's say, for example, it's 20% of all the traffic goes to Rotten Tomatoes to see the want to see score. That could easily take away the whole profitability of Rotten Tomatoes. Because if they spend, let's say that, for example, they spend $5 million a year and their revenue is $6 million a year and they lose 20%, that effectively takes away the whole profitability of Rotten Tomatoes. It really questions whether it's worth running the website. Even if it generates revenue for Fandango, if that revenue falls, and Fandango is paying the overheads of Rotten Tomatoes from those ticket sales, if those ticket sales fall, but the costs aren't. So if Rotten Tomatoes, I've looked online, they appear to employ around 36 people. You've got the wages of their staff, you've got the office overheads, and you've got any marketing as website themselves. So that means that Rotten Tomatoes doesn't make a profit for either Rotten Tomatoes itself or Fandango. And now they're talking of removing the whole functionality where people can leave reviews unless they buy a ticket through Fandango. So again, if you said that was, let's say 50% of all the traffic was people going to Rotten Tomatoes and leaving a review, that's now 70% of their traffic they're going to lose. And the only 30% remaining are people who have gone to Rotten Tomatoes, seen a movie, bought a ticket through Fandango, and are then going to leave a review. So Rotten Tomatoes is really marginalising itself. It's taking away its functionalities, and that means that less people are going to go to Rotten Tomatoes. So this whole website could lose its popularity, and the reason why people are going to this particular website. So for me, this means that Rotten Tomatoes is being forced to kind of like cut itself down and remove parts of its website. So it's a bit like Amazon saying, okay, we're no longer going to sell toys and books. That would take away a lot of their traffic and be really damaging to Amazon. And it's the same effect with Rotten Tomatoes. Now, Rotten Tomatoes also got a lot of negative publicity, which may stop people going to the website. Because it transpires that Paul Yanover, who's the president of Fandango, also used to work for Disney. People are putting those connections together and saying, you know, the president used to work for Disney. It was a Disney movie, which, you know, as in Captain Marvel, and Disney are using that connection to force Rotten Tomatoes to take away its negative scores for Captain Marvel. So all these functionalities that are being removed and slimmed down for Rotten Tomatoes could damage this website massively. It could take away, you know, large part of its traffic, as much as maybe even 70% of its traffic could go, because there's no reason to go to the website anymore. So this is why I think Rotten Tomatoes could be in a lot of trouble and could effectively just be a dead website where the only reviews are left by people who bought a ticket through Fandango, which will be the minority, I would suggest. So let me know what you think. Do you think that this whole Captain Marvel scenario is going to cause a lot of problems for Rotten Tomatoes? Now for me, they brought it on themselves. They didn't communicate with their users. They instead put out a press release and accused them of being trolls, which was a ridiculous and horrendous thing for them to do. They should have communicated with their own users and built up a better relationship between their users and the people running Rotten Tomatoes, instead of just calling people trolls because they disliked the movie or they said they didn't want a movie. So Rotten Tomatoes have only got themselves to blame. But again, let me know what you think in the comments below. But for me, Rotten Tomatoes is in a lot of trouble, especially if they have to continue to remove the functionalities of their website, as they're suggesting they're going to have to do. But again, leave your comments below. But for me, Rotten Tomatoes is in a lot of trouble.